As mentioned at the end of the previous video, we're now going to spend a little bit of time filtering the VLANs that are allowed on a trunk. And what I've done is done a write erase and delete VLAN.dat. I love saying that. I'm not very good at it, but I love saying it. So I've completely reinitialized the switches and reloaded them, and we're right back where we were at the very beginning. And this time we're concentrating on the show interface trunk output where it says VLANs allowed on trunk. And the first time I saw that command, or saw that part of the command output many years ago, I just thought, well, yeah, why wouldn't I want VLANs allowed on a trunk? You know, I want all the VLANs allowed on a trunk. Not so fast. Maybe you do and maybe you don't. You can see one reason at the bottom of your screen right now exactly why you might want to filter them out. And this is our old friend, the broadcast. The broadcast rears its ugly head yet again, or I should say unnecessary broadcast. Because in this hypothetical, I have not configured this on the switches. We're going to do a lab with this in just a moment. But I haven't configured these VLANs, but we have no hosts on switch 2 in our hypothetical that are in VLANs 100 or 200. They're only on switch 1. But trunk ports, as we all know, belong to all VLANs. So that means that broadcast traffic for all VLANs that switch 1 knows about going to be sent across that trunk. All VLANs that switch 2 knows about are going to be sent across the trunk to switch 1, so it's vice versa. It's a two-way deal. But the thing is, we don't want to send all those broadcasts for VLANs 100 and 200 over to a switch that has absolutely no use for them whatsoever. Because what are we reducing there? We're reducing our overhead. Switch 1 is sending unnecessary broadcasts, unnecessary frames across the trunk, which takes up a little bit of bandwidth, or maybe a lot of bandwidth. And then in turn, switch 2's got to look at every single one of those incoming broadcasts for these VLANs. Oh, I don't know that VLAN. Oh, I don't know that VLAN. Oh, I don't know that VLAN. And just dispose of them. So we can eliminate all that ridiculous, unnecessary overhead just by changing that list of allowed VLANs. And I'm going to bring the live equipment up here because I want to walk through each one of these. And the command is, let's go with our interface range command. Switch port, trunk. We've looked at that one a lot, and we've worked with encapsulation, and we've worked with native. We'll see printing in action in the VTP section most likely. And right now, it's going to be the allowed option that we work with. And then VLAN, you actually have to put in the word VLAN. And now we have all these options. We could just put in right now the VLAN IDs of the allowed VLANs when this port is in trunking mode. So there's our allow option, if you will. I've already got that. But then we have add VLANs to the current list, all for all VLANs, except all VLANs except the following, none. That's rather a nuclear option. You're just going to take them all off. And then remove. Now, this is one of these rare situations where there is no one absolute right way to do this because you're always going to have different requirements for it. It doesn't matter which of these options you use as long as you get the desired results. And the desired results right now for us are prevent VLANs 100 and 200 from going across that trunk. And you know what we're actually going to do? We're going to switch over to switch 1 because to prevent those VLANs, that's where we would put it. It would not be wrong to put those commands on switch 2, but the thing is, we're going to stop them from ever going across the trunk to begin with, and we're going to disallow host VLANs 100 to 200 on switch 1. So let's hop over there and do that instead. Interface range, RANGE. And switch port, trunk allowed VLAN, and we want to remove VLANs 100 and 200 from the current list, and that's the option I think we're going to use right now, or except. We could use that as well. We could just say allow them all except the following. So you see what I'm saying? We could use except here, we could use remove here. We're going to use except in this particular option, and then you just start putting them in. And what you have to watch is you can put a comma here. It's kind of like interface range. You just have to get used to where spaces go and where they don't. But here, this command allows all VLANs except 100 and 200. So let's do a show interface trunk and make sure that they are no longer allowed, and they're not. Look at that. So we're allowing VLANs 1 through 99, 101 through 199, and then 201 through 4094. But what we've done is disallowed VLANs 100 and 200 from using that trunk. Now let's say we just got an urgent phone call, or we just realized that we need to add VLAN 100 back. This is where I really like the up arrow. We need to go into the range first. Then I'll use the up arrow again to start going through the commands. And I'll just backspace over those. For those of us who hate to type, and even those of us who like it, that is a bit of a time saver. So now I need to add a VLAN to the current list. So it would seem that I would use the add option. And you're doing the exact same thing. So here I'm just going to put 100 because that's the one we wanted to put back. And now I'll do a show interface trunk. And you can see that it's been added back, because now the VLANs allowed on the trunk are 1 through 199 and 201 through 4094. So the only one in there that's actually been disallowed at this point is VLAN 200. So we just got a phone call that we need to take VLAN 100 right back off. Okay, so we grit our teeth and we do a conf T. It's like fressin'. I know, that's too much like the other guy. I was trying to sound like the farmer guy. Anyway, let's just leave that alone. Let's go back to our range command, and we'll look at our options again. And which one should we use now if I want to take 100 back off? I could use accept and then name, 100 and 200, but I'm going to use remove here. And I'm going to remove 100 back from the list. Show interface trunk, and you can see that we've been successful in 100. VLAN 100 has been removed from the allowed list. Now let's practice the two more drastic ones. First off, let's take a look at what it's going to look like. Can we actually delete all those VLANs? Can we disallow all of those on the trunk? What do you think? The suspense is killing me. I hope it'll last. Let's see. Let's do none. Switchport trunk allowed VLAN none. No options there. And I just entered it. Do a show interface trunk. And congratulations. You now have a trunk that has absolutely no VLANs allowed on it. I'm sure that's there for a reason. I've never run into a situation where that was something I would do in a production network. You may have, but it's good to know, because if you went in here and looked at this, at least you would know what needed to be changed. And you would say, well, perhaps we should start by putting them all back. So we'll do just that with interface range. And then looking at our options again, we will use all. And there you go. So now they're all back, and we're right back where we started from. So now our VLANs 1 through 4094 are allowed. So we've seen how to remove a single one. We've seen how to remove a couple of them. We've seen how to remove all of your VLANs and how to put all of them back. What we're going to do here, I want to run a lab with this. And because I know you're thinking, well, what does it look like when you're trying to send pings over a trunk or any packets? What happens when two hosts that were using that trunk are suddenly disallowed? So that's what I'm going to set up for the very next video. We're going to do a lab with this. We're going to disallow another VLAN and see what that does to us at layer 3 and what it looks like. So let me set that up, and I'll see you on the next vid.